Young people are always complaining. Nobody understands them. They are not being given space. There's nothing for them. So we say, okay, young people come. But then we are also not going to stop engaging with the older generation, because we also don't want people coming in thinking that they're the new kid on the block and they're the ones starting something new. And one of the things that we've not been doing well, although Professor Wanjiku Kabera has done, which is documenting women's contributions and the work that women have done over the years. So there's a blind spot when it comes to women. You've seen, even as we've been agitating for the 2/3 gender principle, the refrain is often, what do women want? Women want free things. Women want things to find them in bed, as though women have been passive bystanders throughout the struggle. Yet it is not true. Women have been right there in the struggle, fighting for the same democratic ideals, including their own recognition, because you know that pre-2010, women were not recognized as bona fide citizens. They did not have legally equal rights and opportunities like their male counterparts. And so it is important that we bring the generations together so that the younger ones know the work that has been done and build on that. Not come and say, yes, now we are coming with something new. Some of you here who are in the university, you are going for PhD. Once upon a time, women were not being educated. It was not a priority. You were supposed to just be good and get married, and that was the end of that story. Those were your aspirations, to be a good wife and hopefully land yourself a good man who will be kind to you and have many children and leave it at that. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but what I am saying is that women, because of that, were denied opportunities, contributing. I mean, think of all the wonderful professors you have, female professors you have, the women who are doing great things out there. People like Dr. Linda Musumba, chair of KIPRA. I mean, can you imagine if all of these were just relegated to wives and mothers living vicariously through their male children, and no offense to the men, So, and there's nothing wrong with being a wife and a mother, but it's okay for women to aspire to be presidents, to be vice chancellors, to be doctors, to be astronauts, to be all those things. And so it's important that person just not be seen as a woman, just as a person, and apply to be a PhD student. At once upon a time, you couldn't even apply to even just be a student, and it's good that they understand that they are standing on the shoulders of others. Once upon a time, it was anathema for women to be leaders. Today, we see women as leaders, but there's been a fight for that to happen. And tomorrow, we'll have a female president. It will happen one day, Times have changed completely, so it's backwardness. So sometimes we need to remind them that there was a very archaic world where women were not even considered as human beings. So it's important that we have those intergenerational discussions, and also the challenges that the young people deal with today. The world is also very different from the time we lived in it, and we need to know how the young people are engaging, because for us, it's also a foreign concept. So if we have intergenerational dialogues, we're able to understand one another. Then we have intersectional dialogues, because even among us, we have those who are excluded, people that we never think about, widows. We don't understand the plight of widows. I don't know where Hilda Orimba went. Remember, she always used to Wawesok. You remember? Anytime she would be, you are all potential widows. So you must remember widows. So we have widows, we have women living with HIV and AIDS. People who are living in different contexts in the midst of us. So how do we bring these people on board? Orphans. We have a crisis of child-headed households because of various reasons. People living in extreme poverty and exclusion, So we have all these forums planned. But the most important thing is that we want to bring partnerships together to have joint discussions, which is what we've done during this Women's Economic Forum. And it would not have been possible without the coordination and just the phenomenal work of another phenomenal woman who we partnered with to be able to make this happen. She is Madam Zura Ogada, and I'll give her an opportunity to speak. But I think there's been celebration when people saw that the national, it's not called stock exchange, it's called what? Securities, National Securities Exchange, Nairobi Securities Exchange, aka Nairobi Stock Exchange. But the bourse, where listed companies, where companies are listed and trade, how Zuhura negotiated with the NSE to ensure that companies that are listed on the stock exchange have the criteria. There are certain criteria that you need to have before your company is listed on the securities exchange. So one of the criteria that she has negotiated is that those companies should have a minimum of 30% women on their boards. And that is phenomenal. Because when we are measuring how our economy is doing, we always look to that bourse to know, are people investing in Kenya? Are they seeing Kenya as viable? And so those companies that list there are multinational companies and companies that operate balance sheets in the billions, And so if women are operating at that level, it opens up a whole different worldview. But Zuhura we brought her in as an event organizer, but she also said, look, there's other stuff we need to do. We need to bring in people. Because we've had discussions, when we've looked at the sector we are looking at this year, the micro and small enterprises. We've looked at agriculture because that's where our women majority of them are engaged. We've looked at MSMEs as potential engines of growth. We've also looked at technology, because we will not, now we are here held up because technology has not arrived, to beam our conversation. But technology is what is driving the world. And we've seen how the future is happening now, because COVID came and suddenly we were all locked up in our houses. And what happened? We had to start working from home. And it's technology that made that possible. But when we were having that discussion, we put together people, but she brought in her connections. She brought us the country director of Google. Google. We are now, these days, at least if you're a student, you have Google. In fact, you can only be foolish by choice. Google has everything. Anything you want to know, Google, just Google it. Let Google be your friend. But we had serious discussions, and she was able to bring us really, really key players, key industry players. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, talking about things of women. And so, Professor, I don't want to go into much, but to say that this is going to be an annual, the Women in Economy series is going to be an annual event. And we want to partner with the WeHub because it is important that research, facts, inform our interventions. There is so much happening in the world, in Africa, in Kenya, things that we must engage with. We have the East African Federation, we have the Common Market Treaty. How many of us are engaging in that? How are women engaging in that? We've just opened up a new frontier after African Free Common Trade Area. Can you imagine? The whole of Africa, 54 states. There are 54? We have 54? Okay. Some states can be born. But we've made it one market. How will women engage? How? We are still fighting for 2/3. Economically, that is a proper market. The potential to just transform lives, is immense. And we have to engage with knowledge and information. And so putting together all those partners is important. It's important. And having people like Zura is hugely important because I will let her talk about herself, because she sits on very many other institutions. She's a phenomenal woman, making all this happen, giving us very high-tech technology and, amazing stuff. So I will stop there and allow her to come. Oh, how can I forget? Our mother ministry. Us guys, we are critics of government. So it's very shocking sometimes when government agrees to work with you because we're always pointing out their mistakes. But we have wonderful people in the ministry. Professor Margaret Kobia, who has been so gracious and agreed to also partner with us in this. And the lady who made it happen is Miss Elizabeth Adongo. She is also another phenomenal woman. They take bullets for us because sometimes I'm sure they ask, why do you talk to those people? And they have nothing but criticism for us. But she explains us to them and brings them to us. And so we also want to appreciate our mother ministry, the Ministry of Public Service and Gender, for their partnership and their willingness to partner with us in this initiative. After this forum, of course, there's going to be a conference report with outcome resolutions, which we will present to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender, and we'll make it available to everybody. We will do it at a breakfast meeting, hopefully in the month of March, because March is Women's Month. So we will do that. And then, of course, we also want to be held to account so that next year, when we are doing the second forum, we are reporting on progress that has been made following the resolutions that came out of this conference. If you want to know more about it, you can log on to our website, www.crowntrust.org. Crown Trust is with an A, C-R-A-W-N, crowntrust.org. We also have a website for the WVL, which we host at Crown Trust. It's www.wvlkenya.org. That website hosts a lot. In there is a map of women's rights organizations from across the country, different organizations, thematic areas they work in, and also it's like a one-stop shop to know what other organizations are doing around the country. But we also have an events calendar so you can keep abreast with what's going on with the WVL and the WVL partnerships. And what else? Then, of course, we'll be bringing to you more and more information. So if you want to know more, please log on. Follow us on Twitter. What's our Twitter handle? At Women Voice and Leadership Program. So you can follow all those. And you see, I have talked the technology here. So let me give Zuhura, she can talk the technology up. Yes? Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Professor Kavira. We really appreciate hosting us here today. And of course, seeing our last leg of the Women and the Economy Forum that started yesterday. Indeed, it's a pleasure, and I believe in saving the best for the last. You just got the cream of it all. And it's lovely to see you all, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, it gives me so much pride to be able to stand here today and be happy that not only we've been set for by the Lord to have had a very gracious event yesterday and today, and coming to the tail end of it. Yes, my friend Daisy has talked much more about me and even about the successes of what happened last week. And I would say that that was a win for all of us. So clap for yourselves. Yeah, I'm just but a servant to carry that ensuring that we are having women representation in boards. We need to have women sit in boards, not because they're women, but because it's business. And I say it's not about gender and it's about business. We've seen businesses that have actually performed very well because of the diversity in the boards, the different brains that are brought into the board system. It's amazing. And because we said we can't sit down and just look, because look at it, at the BOSA, it's the second African BOSA signing up with the global initiative of the 30% club. The first one was the JSC. And what are we doing about that? We are bringing leaders to the board. We are enabling them from schoolroom to boardroom. We are telling women, statistics have it that we're losing a lot of women in middle level management. They all fear and they say, let me just bring up my children. I don't want that stress. And that's what we're demystifying, because they are such women. Because lack of having them there, you will not have somebody who will focus on the policies organizations should actually put in place to incorporate and even understand what is required. You will not have people there who are making products and things and ideas and decisions about what would actually affect women. It's amazing. The other day in one of the forums for the architects, they said for the longest time, they have just discovered, maybe a few years back, that they need the women to ensure that the houses that are built are bought quickly. Because it takes the husband to bring the woman to the house he's coming to see, says, I'll call her tomorrow. And she comes to the kitchen and she's like, who will reach up there? We are not buying it, and it won't be bought. But did we ever think in that context that we actually needed those ideas? What about if you had that woman sit on the board? Yeah. And they would be able to tell you this is what would work and businesses would be better. So it's amazing with the 30% club globally and what we are doing, and with the BOZA. And now what will be coming up is also with the private companies as well, is ensuring that we are equipping those women. And we have programs that are there for leadership work, that we work with different women on middle level management to engage them up. And this also goes on the political level as well. And then we have the board work, those who sit in the board, and just saying, do not give up, and being able to be walked through so that when you're there, you're making decisions, but you're not serving a cup of tea. Some of you do not know, is we have had traditional boards, I don't know if they still happen now, that they say, oh, we want some tea. Zuhura, would you please serve us tea? And you're with then 10 men, and you already are intimidated that you're not even able to, give that. But we're saying we're bringing brains and we're bringing diversity. And there's a lot, and COVID has actually taught us and disrupted us about how businesses are looking into things. We are fighting for younger women. We are fighting for youth to be on boards. We are fighting for that, because if you were to plan, look at the generation now, 70% are youth. How many boards, if I could ask, have got 20-something-year-olds on the board, or 30? How many of those have got young women who are that age? So it's amazing that it's a conversation that's going on, and we are very happy that we are steering it. But I say we because it's all of us. So it's a win for all of us. I was just humbled to be able to represent all of us. And it's a win for businesses, and businesses indeed to be able to start the GDP of this country. We've seen where Kenya is. We know where Africa is. Africa is on the rise. COVID taught us better. Now we are seeing the free trade area opened. The first biggest people who will actually get the bigger opportunity are the small scale products. The farmers who need to bring in a lot of things. Amazing. Yesterday in one of our sessions, there are key things in agriculture that even came out. Did you know about leather products and how they are required? Nigeria is dying for the hide skin. And in those particular counties that we are seeing that happen, how are the women in that area? And what are the opportunities that have been done? What does it take to have the hide skin go out there? How have we enabled? What are the market linkages that we've given in that particular area? Amazing. Again, we have beef for domestic consumption and export. Kenya we're looking for loans. We have said we're enabling it, but we're also enabling it by creating market linkages for these women. These women who yesterday, and I was running the manufacturer panel, is to tell you that anybody can be a manufacturer. We have the cottage industries that are being driven by these women. You can actually, do, even if you're doing 4 jackets a day or in a week, a tailor, they're there. A lot of it, in fact, when I remember we're talking to my friend Akinyi Odongo, she was one of the, the chair of the Kenya Fashion Council, and she's got her Akinyi Odongo, and she does also export market. And she was saying, it's amazing how did we ever realize that majority of a lot of fundis, or I don't know whether it happened and it was in the technical institutions, that they actually, if you were physically challenged, it was easier for them to say, can be a tailor, right? Have we ever thought about that? And did you think, how do we enable them to even have market linkages for export market? We've seen what Kenya is now doing with reviving the cotton industry. We've seen the thicker cotton mills, we've seen Rivertex, we've seen our own president actually standing up, and you can see his shirts. I think everybody now, he's become like Mandela. You know, after Mandela, even when you're at the duty-free shop in South Africa, they are selling the prints of Mandela's shirts very expensively. Our president is wearing our own. Did you ever think about that? What about the effect of that? What about the cotton farmers? The ripple effect. What are the opportunities that are there for these women in the informal sector to even be better farmers? Who's educating them? Who's actually giving them that knowledge? And it's with that it starts us. There's even opportunity of the hoofs of cattle needed in Nigeria. And when a survey was done and they came around and they went to a butchery, the guy was like, since you bought 4 kilograms, let me give you this for free. And there are a delicacy. That is us, because of lack of knowledge. So some of us and some of you who are the opportunity to be enabled to know that, how do you create that to be a solution to our women? Kenya is one of the countries that have got the most hardworking people. Even in Africa, we top. In Europe, we top. They look for Kenyans because we know how to work. It goes all the way to our mothers and our grandmothers. So how are we able to take that up, convert it? How are we able to reshape this economy by ensuring that we're not leaving anyone behind? How are we comfortable with ensuring that this woman who every day is tiring for the family can actually be enabled? And that is how we will revive the economy of this country. We are not waiting for Serikali Saidia. The power is in our hands. It's our time to be able to do that, and we can show that. It's amazing what effect that is to the society, to the family. And if that woman is more enabled, even some of the problems that we are seeing that are bad leadership, that we are seeing that have affected families, will not, because they're in charge. So that is what we are looking at. And indeed, it gives me great joy that we had such interactive. In fact, we had over, is it 2,500? We were looking at about 500. We had that. We had a lot of people coming from Afghanistan, Niger, we had Nigeria, we had Ethiopia, we had Rwanda. We had phone calls from over the region saying, what else can we do? We had phone calls telling us from the region, can you come and do that here? But we have not even finished and started. And hence the reason why in our conversation, we said we have to have the resolution. What are the findings? And what is that you're tasking us to ensure that we are having these conversations so that we can also have them with different bodies, different countries, to be able to have these women trading in the African market. It is open right now. Opportunities are many. You can take Kiondos anywhere. We are not even, our IPs on Kiondo, Masai Shukas, they're all being used. Why? And these are things that you're seeing women are doing together, and at the same time, they're being sold all over. People have taken advantage of that. So it gives me great joy that we have started a journey that would involve many, a journey that has looked difficult before, a journey that we know would have successes, but above all, a journey that nobody will look at the other to support them, but a journey that's an enabler, not only to the women, to the men, to the economy, and to Africa. So thank you so much. We're really looking at a very good, exciting journey. We join you. We support all of you. We believe in collaboration. Everybody, it can't be done by one person. Everybody can actually carry this and carry it along. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's okay. I was just checking whether the team is ready.
Are they ready?
Yeah.
Yeah?
We are ready. Also, to sit here with the family.